for the third time in a week, another young sports star has collapsed and died while competing. The death of this teenage soccer and track star in Florida is raising more questions about the problem of sudden cardiac death in strong athletes. We'll speak with a cardiologist in a moment, but first, let's go to Ryan Owens in Gainesville, Florida. Good morning, Ryan.
George, good morning to you. What happened at the high school behind me is different from the other cases for a couple of reasons. First, this time we're talking about a young woman. Second, there was at least one major warning sign missed.
It's a sad day for us.
She was just 17 years old. Sarah Landauer was a standout in soccer and track, who was very popular off the field at this Gainesville high school.
Not just a phenomenal athlete, but a tremendous asset to the community.
The teen died at this hospital Wednesday morning, 2 days after collapsing at track practice. Bystanders performed CPR on the high school junior, even used a defibrillator to resuscitate her. What's most alarming is nearly the same thing happened 2 weeks before. Sarah had just finished practicing a 200-meter sprint when she fell unconscious. Doctors apparently put her through a battery of tests and cleared her to go back on the field. The executive director of the Florida High School Athletic Association told a local paper, "We require medical clearance. If that happens and the parents are fine with it, we really don't have the authority to say she can't continue." Sarah's death comes less than a week after two other high school athletes died. 17-year-old rugby player Matthew Hammerdorfer and 16-year-old basketball star Wes Leonard. Leonard's team won their second game without him last night, but he was in their hearts and on their backs. Both male athletes had heart problems. This morning, it's still not clear what caused Sarah's death.
So we've had school go on as usual, but we've been flexible to give kids a chance to talk about their emotions.
And grief counselors will be at the school again today to help students deal with their emotional loss. Elizabeth.
All right, Ryan, thanks so much. We're joined now by Dr. Merle Meyerson, a cardiologist who specializes in prevention and sports medicine. And, you know, this young athlete, this soccer star, had collapsed just 2 weeks ago and required CPR. How was she cleared so quickly to be back on the sports field?
Well, it's hard to go back and second guess, but certainly we would hope that she had a thorough evaluation by a qualified healthcare provider, including a history, physical examination, hopefully an electrocardiogram, and maybe even an ultrasound of her heart.
Now, the results of the autopsy are still pending, but based on your considerable experience in exercise physiology, what do you think happened?
Most cases such as this, it's usually a cardiac cause, either an abnormality in the structure of the heart or an irregular heart rhythm.
And is this the kind of thing an EKG would have picked up before now?
Not always picked up on an electrocardiogram, but together with asking questions, you know, do you have symptoms? Is there a family history? So putting all these things together can really help to screen out somebody at risk, but it's not a perfect process.
Because obviously with this young woman, there had been a previous incident, but the other two cases a week ago, there weren't any previous incidents. They all seem to be sudden, catastrophic events. Parents must be wondering, how can I tell if my kid is at risk for this?
It's very hard to tell, and we don't have perfect risk stratification. However, there are certain red flags that a parent can realize. Very important, though, before any young athlete participates in high school sports or their youth leagues, to have screening, to have someone do a history. Ask about the family history as well, and do a physical examination.
You do have a list of symptoms that you should watch for, these student athletes should watch for. They are undue shortness of breath, irregular heartbeat or palpitations, feeling lightheaded or dizzy, and chest discomfort. I have to be honest, 2 of those 4 symptoms could be also just simple overexertion.
That's what makes it very difficult to risk stratify. Fortunately, this is an uncommon event, but when we do have some of those symptoms, go the next step. Have the child restrained from activity until they can be evaluated.
And finally, very quickly, it seems like the star athletes seem to be the one who are suffering and dying from this condition. Why is that?
We hear about the star athletes, but unfortunately, too, that this can be applied to the athletes who are on the bench as well as the starting lineup.
But many doctors say the star athletes are often pushing themselves further, and that's why sometimes they may be at greater risk. Doctor, thank you so much for being here. This isn't an epidemic by any stretch of the imagination, but still cause for concern for parents. Thank you.